Good evening. I'm glad you're here with us tonight as we begin our Valentine series. And tonight I am going to show you how to make homemade Valentine cards. Nothing makes you feel any better than receiving a card from someone, and especially knowing that they made it from hand. The first Valentines were given in the 18th century. Much like today, they were made with paper and used anything to adorn them with lace and ribbons, often flowers and hearts, and sometimes even keys. Valentines were often included in lines of poetry, and also they were had puzzles with them, which I thought was very interesting. They could be either word puzzles or even piece puzzles. And what we're going to need today is cardstock, and you just need your regular 8.5 by 11-inch cardstock, and you can use a variety of colors for the background, whatever you choose to use, pinks and reds and purples, whatever you choose. The main cards, we're going to use just a plain sheet of white cardstock. And some of the other things that you're going to be needing is double-sided tape. Oftentimes you'll need scissors to cut things with. I like to use heart punches. This is just a typical little heart punch that you can buy at craft stores. It's a 1.5-inch die cut, or if you want to, you can cut them by hand. So to start off with, we're going to take our paper and we're going to cut it in half, which would be 5.5 inches. One of the things I like to do is go ahead and cut all my pieces out that I'm going to use at one time and then go to assemble them. Another great tool to use is also a paper cutter. They come in all different sizes and kinds. This one is just a small little Fiskars, and over here we have a big one, a little bit bigger. They come in all different brands, so whatever you like to use is just fine. It's sort of hard to cut with scissors when you're trying to cut a straight line. So you're going to take your piece of cardstock and you're going to fold it in half, and this starts out with your base card. And you can either, however you want to do it, you can either turn it portrait or landscape. So it's just sort of up to what you want to do. And the cards are personalized things, so you can do it any way you want to. So then you're going to choose your background piece, whichever color you're going to use. I'm going to choose today to go ahead and use it like the card here and cut that one. And it is going to cut up 4 inches by 5 1/4. And then the next piece you're going to cut off of your piece that you already cut in half of, and this one is going to be 3 3/4 by 5 inches. You always go in increments when you want to do a trim around a card in 1/4 inch. So that allows you to have 1/8 of an inch all the way around. Okay, and there's these. Next, you're going to cut your little squares, and these are going to be 1 inch on the, 1 inch on the red. And there's going to be 4 of those. So sometimes they're a little bit hard. You're going to sort of have to work with when you're cutting increments really small. So you have to use to adjust those. 1. I got that one too short. Okay. 1. These are going to just be little squares, little tile blocks, you might say. 3. Okay, the next one we're going to do white. Okay, next you have your white strip, and it's going to be 3/4 of an inch. These trimmers have really good little guides on them, and so you can get those pretty exact. And these are going to be 3/4 inch squares. And we have to adjust it a little bit according to the line. Sometimes it's easier to go from the left to the right. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you need some type of decorative ribbon. And I mean, you can use anything. One thing about when you're making cards, you don't have to worry about it being acid-free and lignin-free because we're not worried about preserving this. So a lot of these ribbons you can buy over in the fabric department. And we're going to need 5 inches of ribbon. So there's 5 inches. And then you're going to need a heart. And just either you're going to freehand this or you're going to use a punch. You've got your little heart. And now then you are ready to start assembling. Put this aside. You'll take your card and use your double-sided tape. I like to go ahead and put it in each corner and one in the middle. And you're going to tape that to your card. This one needs to be trimmed just a little bit more. Sometimes you have to adjust ones. Sometimes they're not all completely. This one needs to be a little bit trimmed a little bit more. Sometimes cardstock, even though it says it's the correct size, sometimes it don't always turn out that way. And lay that on there. And then you're going to do your white piece the same way. Tape the corners. And at this time, you're going to take your ribbon and you're going to place it on your card, however, sort of measure where your heart is and come down just about 1/4 to 1/2 inch on each side. And you're going to place it in the middle. Then you're going to fold it over and tape it on the back. This way it gives it a really crisp little look and it's not on the part of your card. It sort of hides those ends. And you're going to place that on there. Place your heart. And you can either put it straight up and down, diagonal, however you want to put it. We're going to angle this just a little bit like so. And then you're going to take your squares and you're going to tape your little ones onto your big ones. And sometimes this is a little hard. You have to fold your tape, get it just right. And of course we've got 4 letters. So we're going to put the L and the O on top and the V and the E underneath. These are super easy and quick, and lots of times we're in a hurry and we don't have a card, and just take some paper and use your imagination and you can make a little bit of anything. And this one's a little bit oversized too. And just randomly, if you want everything exact, you can take your ruler and measure. But I'll just sort of like to gauge it as I go. Like so. Oops, got that one. And one thing about the sticky tape, I mean, it's adjustable. And so you can sort of work with it. If you didn't get it quite where you want to, you can sort of gently raise it back up and move it. And if you've got a lettering machine, or if you want to use the vinyl letters that you can buy at the craft stores and put your letters on there, but it sort of makes it even more unique when you make your own letters and write on there. And we're going to write the words love, L-O-V-E. And there you have your card. Another little thing that you can often do, I mean, it's plain and it's simple. If you want to add a little bit of sparkle to it, you can use these gems and put a little rhinestone right in the corner at the top of your heart, wherever you want to. I didn't mention the tweezers. These are absolutely wonderful, and they help with anything intricate. You can get these at the craft store and the scrapbook store, or lots of times they also make them. Singer makes one over in the sewing division. And you want to make sure you get these that are self-adhesive, because trying to put glue on these is almost next to impossible. And that's one thing with the tweezers. You can pick them up and put them on there. And we're going to just put a little bitty rhinestone right up here in the corner. Sometimes you sort of have to work with them. There. And then you have your card. Okay, another thing, after you've made your cards, you need something to put your treats in. And these make a wonderful little treat bag. And these can be used anything from Valentine's Day to birthdays, or just an everyday thing. This is just an average everyday lunch sack that you can buy in the store. And they don't have to be white. This just happens to be what I have at home. And you're going to take your sack and you're going to measure it across. This one is 5 inches. So we're going to take our paper and cut 5 inches, and also on this one, and then however many you want to fold it down. So you need to double it, because you're going to have half of it go over the top and half of it go over the back. So we need to have this one probably 10 inches. Here's my paper cutter. And we're going to go 10 inches by 5 inches. And I love to use doilies. And these you can buy over in the baking department. Right now, you can buy, especially the red ones, you can find over in the holiday with the Valentine stuff, and the same thing with the hearts. But lots of times they'll have these over in the baking section of your craft stores. So we're going to take this and fold it in half. And if you want to make a design on it, this one actually has sort of an arrow sort of going down, and just sort of take it in the half. Just cut it in half. And you're going to put it over your sack. And you can glue your doily down, and amazingly so. I mean, it really doesn't matter. I mean, you can actually use the sticky tape, and it doesn't bother it at all. Lots of people think, like, how are you going to glue that down? But it works just great with the double-sided tape. Okay, now we've got this tape down. We're going to take our hole punch, and you're going to punch 2 little holes at the top, like so, and like so. And then you're going to take your heart punch, and you're going to cut out your hearts to go on the bag, however you want to put them on there, and however many you want to do. We're going to do 3 on this one. Take your tape, and we're just going to glue those randomly on the bag. Lots of times when you're making things, you want to do them in increments of odd numbers, in 3s and 5s, and makes it a little bit more attractive to the eye. And then you're going to open your bag up, place your items in your bag, whether it be cookies or candies or whatever you choose, and line that up. And then again, you're going to take this and look at your guidelines and punch your holes in there. And then you're going to run your ribbon, and it takes probably about 8 to 12 inches, however long you want to run your ribbon through there. You run your holes through there on your ribbon and tie it in a bow. I'm not a very good bow maker. So you guys can probably make bows a lot better than I can. I usually have my husband tie my bows for me. And there you have a treat bag. Hope you enjoyed watching the videos on how to make cards, and I hope you enjoy your Valentine's and have a homemade card for your loved one. Have a good evening.